I top Billin. I know this may be unpopular opinion, but the next time I care about being popular will be the first. Matter of fact, I've been popular my whole life, so that ain't hitting for nothing. But as far as this media space goes, I do not care about being popular, right? I'm trying to be real. I want to give you the realest content out there. I'm going to give you thoughts unfiltered, well, to a certain degree. But you know that it's coming from a place to where it's not contrived, nor am I trying to be popular like a lot of these other clowns you see, especially up on YouTube, right? So with that being said, I think the University of Georgia is doing itself a disservice by setting up camp in South Florida or even in Florida in general to get its players. The University of Georgia does not need to leave the state of Georgia to field at the very least a top 5 recruiting class every season and definitely a top 5 overall team as far as football goes, period, right? So the University of Georgia should be able to compete from national championships. They should be able to compete for national championships just from the talent within the state. Now, I understand that's not fathomable. Not everybody in the state's going to want to go to Georgia, but you would be surprised the amount of kids that I've talked to from this state being in this business. A lot of kids that I work with, as you guys know, if you follow my entire career, doing the marketing thing for some of these kids as well. These kids grow up wanting to play for the University of Georgia, and then they get overlooked. They go on somewhere else and become stars. But then you have the University of Georgia here. So this is stemming from Divaad Wilson. And as you guys know, if you probably heard now, Divaad Wilson has entered his name in the transfer portal. They got him in the 2018 recruiting cycle. Now, Divaad Wilson is a talented player, and so are a lot of these other guys that they got from South Florida. And we know how Coach Smart likes to operate. He comes from Alabama, where they have a great lineage and pipeline to South Florida or Florida in general, where they've had some of the best players in college football or recent college football lore play for Alabama and develop that dynasty over there. So that's cool. That is very cool. Alabama is different than the University of Georgia. Alabama, the state is different from Georgia because Alabama, just from a population standpoint and probably from a talent standpoint, I don't think that they can fill a top 5 recruiting class every year with just players from the state of Alabama like Georgia can. Georgia just has it hitting on all cylinders like that. One of the fastest growing states, period, I would have to imagine in certain pockets is probably some of the fastest growing zip codes in all of the country. So with that being said, we can go through and name guys, right? I felt like they have not hit on anybody from Florida, right? Tyrique Stevenson is a guy that I really love, right? The bully. He is awesome. I think he's going to be a great player. We don't have enough data on him from the 2019 season, but he looks like he's going to be a player. But even with that being said, there were other options in the state beyond Tyrique Stevenson that I believe that would have done just as good a job or will be just as good as Tyrique Stevenson, and you would have liked to have seen those guys be able to represent for the state. Now, keep this in mind. I could not give a fuck less about the University of Georgia. I do not know how many times I have to hammer that down. I did not grow up as a University of Georgia fan. I couldn't tell you much about the University of Georgia when I first started watching football as a little kid. I never watched the University of Georgia. I watched Big 10 football, Big 12 football, and the teams that I watched in the SEC was like the Florida Gators. I like ACC. I like Big East football. I love Virginia Tech and even Miami and teams like that, right? I was just a fan of players. I was a fan of coaches and schemes and stuff like that. I never took to the University of Georgia, but as a media member, it's a team that I cover, and it makes sense for me being born and bred in this state and the connections that I have to be able to cover the University of Georgia. So I do not dislike the University of Georgia. I can cover it just as unbiasedly as I cover any other team. And guys know that I cover a myriad of teams. So got to get that out the way. This has to do with like pride in the state. I played in these youth programs, basketball, football, of course, baseball, wrestling, and all that stuff like that. I have pride in my state as far as that goes, so I know how these kids feel about that particular school. I wish those kids felt that way about Georgia Tech, if I'm being honest about the situation, so we could see 2 big-ass conglomerate teams in one state. That shit would be hard, right? But for some odd reason, the University of Georgia resonates with people more than Georgia Tech does, even though Georgia Tech is the one with the most recent national championship. But that's another time, another story for another day, right? But I just don't think that it's fathomable. I don't know. I just don't understand why the University of Georgia is passing up on a lot of these kids. We even see it right now in this 2021 class with a kid like Jordan Hancock going to Ohio State and some of these other kids. I think LSU got a cat. But let's do it. We can go through each cycle and look at the guys who they got from Florida and see if there were better options within state. Let's go ahead and do that right now.
What more can I say?
Top Billin. All right, y'all, I'm going to start with the 2017 class. I feel as though the 2016 class, a lot of those guys were going to go play for Mark Richt anyway. He may have had some sway in certain kids or whatever like that, but usually when you come in that late, you know, it's pretty much on autopilot for you. I feel like 2017 and beyond are his kids, and I really want to put the focus on defensive backs for this particular content item, obviously because Divaad Wilson leaving, and I feel like I'm not sure he's hit on one of these defensive backs. I'm going to save Tyrique Stevenson. Obviously, I think the bully himself, he's going to be lights out. But even with that being said, we'll just get to it, all right? So check this out right here. So just keeping up with the defensive backs, you'll see some guys. Now, people are going to be like, Murf, there are a bunch of Georgia in-state defensive backs that are bust too. Now, listen, I would much rather have an in-state bust than an out-of-state bust. For the simple fact is, there are feelings involved with these coaches. These coaches work hard to develop these kids in high school, the training programs and all that, for them to get overlooked by the in-state school, and they feel a certain kind of way about that. If they bust, cool, right? They busted. They have I get a pass. You get a pass for the in-state bust. You don't get a pass technically, right? Because I'm gonna be on that ass because you got to develop your players. However, I would just much rather have an in-state bust than an out-of-state bust. And then you think about it, right? These kids hit in the state, they come back, they have a reason to be here. Their family's here and everything like that. No matter how much you guys try to make guys like Matthew Stafford be from Georgia and stuff like that, he's not from Georgia. He's still going to have to go back home to Texas, and his people going to be in Texas and stuff like that. So it's just a different way of operating here. But let's see, when we get down to here, all right, not doing good in cornerbacks, period. Trey Bishop and William Poole and these guys, no, not good. They're not good. All right, so here we go. Jacksonville, Florida. So not South Florida, but just Florida in general. You don't have to lead a state, right? Especially on defense. You don't have to lead a state. Amir Speed. Like, what did Conor McGregor say on that one time, right? Who was he talking to? I think he was talking to Jeremy Stevens. He said, who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that guy? Who's Amir Speed? Anybody talking about Amir Speed now? Was that worth it? You know what I mean? I mean, no disrespect to Amir Speed, but come on. Let's be real about the situation here, right? Latavius Brini. Crickets. Right? Now, these guys aren't super highly ranked players or anything like that, but look at that. Look at this. They're not super highly ranked players, but look at this right here. Eric Stokes. He's more lower ranked than those guys, and he's the best cornerback on the team. He may be the best cornerback in the damn conference. This state produces some damn good players, man. Some damn good football being played here. You got a guy like Eric Stokes. He was ranked 669, and he could be a damn first-round draft pick. Come on, man. What are we doing here? Let's see some other options from that year. All right, 2017. 2017 Georgia football recruits here. All right, let's go. Looking for a cornerback, right? We're just looking for a cornerback in state. Let's see if they had any 2017. Oh, shit. 2017 class, right? So that was around the time when I first got and started covering college football coming over from the NFL. And look who we have here. One of the kids who I did so much content on. And look, one of the kids I'm still doing content on. You know why? Because this motherfucker is a first-round draft pick of the damn Atlanta Falcons. That would be A.J. Terrell. Can you imagine if A.J. Terrell had gone to the University of Georgia? Think about that, man. Think about if A.J. Terrell were there last year. Well, I don't want to say that, right? Because I'm just young. Be like, man, A.J. Terrell got his ass spanked by Jamar Chase. That's one game, bro. That's one game, right? You know what I'm saying? They could replay that shit right now, and he could get off in that ass. You just never know, right? But imagine A.J. Terrell on the University of Georgia right now, that last year. So you would have had A.J. Terrell, Eric Stokes, DJ Daniel. Those are be your top 3 corners there. That's hard. That shit wouldn't have been hard. Come on, man. 3 state of Georgia cornerbacks. All of them dudes are the truth, right? And you talk about some of the fastest cats, some of the most physical players like A.J. Terrell. That would have been crazy, right? All right, so let's go here. Let's see, is there anybody else that hit on cornerback? So that's for Latavius Brini. So they actually got these guys. I remember everybody wanted Jamias Williams. You know what I'm saying? I don't hear nobody talking about Jamias Williams no more. It is what it is, man. William Poole, they got William Poole, Anthony Williams Jr. I like Anthony Williams. Still at Clemson, I believe. Yusuf Corker, Trey Shaw. All those guys, look, at the very least you can say, let me bust with Jamias Williams, right? I would rather you bust with Jamias Williams. Maybe you take DJ Dallas, right, who played on the defensive side of the ball, ended up getting drafted as a running back. Maybe he's a defensive back for the University of Georgia. DJ Dallas could have definitely been a defensive back at the University of Georgia. Trey Shaw, North Carolina. Any of these guys are playing football. I've seen these guys play football a little more, but you get what I'm saying, right? Listen, we're trying to replace them with busts. So there are busts that they could have had from in-state, and it would have been a little bit better, in my opinion, there. So just from a feeling standpoint, but I can't really locate anybody right now outside of those guys or whatever like that. But just that one dude right there, A.J. Terrell, that's worth 2 cornerbacks in my opinion, right? Would have prioritized that guy. All right, so let's go to the next class. All right, so this is the class right here. This is the point. This is going to be the last class, too, because remember, I'm not going to do anything on 2019. We don't have a large enough data size, and Tyreek Stevenson and those guys, I'm just not going to do that, right? So we have at least a couple of years for the 2018 class, and, of course, we have a few years for the 2017 class. So, all right, let's look what's popping. Oh, Tyson Campbell. Your man Tyson Campbell. So people are going to fight me tooth and nail about Tyson Campbell because they were so excited about him. And this is a make or break year for Tyson Campbell. He has to show himself worthy enough to being a fucking top 15 overall player in the country. He's the number 12 overall player in the country. Has he played like the number 12 overall player in the country? This is what, to me, defines recruiting. If you say someone is a 5-star, that means, especially that damn high, it doesn't matter. If you do 5-star, to me, that's why 5-star should go maybe your top 10 players in the country. Because then if Tyson Campbell's a 4-star, then I'd be like, all right, he needed a little time. But if you're a 5-star, you need to come in and hit the ground running. That means you're college ready. You're ready to be a star right away. You don't have to be the best player on the team right away, but you need to be a Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley epitomizes a 5-star. Jadeveon Clowney epitomized a 5-star. Leonard Fournette, he epitomized a 5-star. He came in, they were ready to rock right away. Sure, they had warts in their game, but you know that by the time they're juniors, like all those guys were, those guys like Clowney and Fournette, you know that they were going to be at the very least top 10 picks in the NFL. You can't say that about Tyson Campbell, man. Don't give me that shit. I'm not doing that feeling shit, bro. Tyson Campbell is a make or break year for him. And to me, he is right now categorically a bust. Now, he has a chance to change that. He's been injured a little bit and all this and that. But even when he wasn't injured, man, he does not look like some type of all-world 5-star player to me. All right, who else? Of course, Divaad Wilson, right? So we're there with Divaad Wilson as well. Is anybody else besides those guys? Divaad Wilson, and it was gonna get real bad. They had gotten Nadab Joseph too, right? So Nadab Joseph, I think Nadab Joseph ain't advanced past 11th grade in high school. I better stop. I'm sorry. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? That's why I said sometimes it be unfiltered. I'm making fun of that man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Some of us, we all had trouble in school sometimes, baby. I was a mess up in school, so I'm here. I love these kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I had trouble in school myself, so I can joke about the shit. But I heard Najee Joseph still like in 11th grade. shit, you know what I'm saying? He's struggling to get up out there. But we won't never see Nadab Joseph at the University of Georgia. He's like, you know what I'm saying? Stranger things have happened, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that. So you had those three dudes. Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? All right, so let's go and see who they could have gotten in 2018. Oh, my God. Before I even get there, I already know the cat that's going to pop up, and I'm thinking about a cornerback trio with this guy, A.J. Terrell, and Eric Stokes. That would be, right here. Not Kyler McMichael, right? Kyler McMichael would have been dope too, right? He transferred from Clemson to North Carolina, and I believe he's immediately eligible this year at North Carolina. Just was a little bit too stacked for him, obviously with A.J. Terrell there and Darian Kendrick and players like that. Kyler McMichael was the truth, but I'm not talking about Kyler. But Kyler would have been great too. Where is he at? Not Miles Sims. Went to Michigan. I think he transferred to Georgia Tech. Boom. J.C. Horn. Joe Horn Jr. Joe Horn Jr. Think about this. J.C. Horn, A.J. Terrell, Eric Stokes as your 2019 cornerback trio, with the fourth guy being DJ Daniel if he transferred back home after he left junior college or whatever like that. Come on, man. You got those four guys going against LSU with their four receivers or their three receiver sets or with the tight end and everything like that. That's not a dope-ass matchup. What? J.C. Horn? J.C. Horn could be a first-round draft pick. He could very well be the first cornerback taken in this draft, right? If he gets enough publicity, which I would certainly help with over the course of this season there. J.C. Horn is that dude, bro. Him and Jerry Jeudy were going at it. I love the competitive nature of J.C. Horn. I saw J.C. Horn at games. I saw him at 7-on-7 Jones. I saw him in camps and stuff like that. I've always loved J.C. Horn, and he showed himself to be very good at the University of South Carolina. So imagine that. That's all I'm saying right there. Did they need to, you know what I'm saying? Even if you like the guys that you like, or Tyson Campbell and stuff like that, you can see that the answers are on the test. Those guys in state could have made a all-world. That's already one guy. A.J. Terrell is a first-round draft pick. J.C. Horn could be that, at the very least a second-round draft pick. Eric Stokes could be that, at the very least a second-round draft pick. DJ Daniel doing his thing. I expect him to have a very good year. Could perhaps be a second-round draft pick, maybe even better than that. And some of the other guys, suppose Kyler McMichael winner, you know what I'm saying? You can't keep all those guys. I understand that. I'm not dumb. But the answers were on the test. You didn't need none of them dudes you got, right? Love Tyreek Stevenson. But even with Tyreek Stevenson in the 20, I think he's going to be very good, right? So it's not saying anything about his skill set. He's probably my favorite young defensive back on the team. However, Andrew Booth, we know about him in the 2019 class, and other guys out there like that. Kenyatta Watson went to Texas. The answers were already on the test. You don't have to leave the state. And we're just doing that for cornerbacks. I can go all up and down the dang, like I said before. Go get your quarterback anywhere. But other than that, man, I'm sorry. You ain't got to leave the state. You have that benefit of your state being that damn lit that you don't have to lead a state to be able to feel like I just showed you, which would have been that would have been the best the best corners in the entire country. Better than Ohio State, better than LSU or whomever. That's nasty. J.C. Horn, A.J. Terrell, Eric Stokes, DJ Daniel. That doesn't look different to you? That doesn't feel and sound different to you? All kids from the state? I don't know what to tell you, man, but that's just my opinion right there. You let me know. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but does the University of Georgia have to leave its state to find and field a championship level team this day and age? And you can say it from back in the day. Mark Richt used to struggle to get the guys from in-state. I don't think Coach Smart will struggle to get the guys from in-state. They just need to be able to prioritize these guys. So It is what it is, man. But as always, I thank you guys for watching, man. Giving you a little entertainment here. Hope you guys are at least at the very least entertained, but hopefully you're educated. So we got to go with the edutainment, baby. It's Top Billin Sports. It's your boy, the Underground King, Murf Baldwin. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And, of course, I am out. Peace.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.